Hey everybody, welcome back to Sawmill. Kind of got a little bit of a special treat. I'm about to start a little series on starting to build my outbuildings. And what I have found is that I have so many offcuts laying around from customer orders that I've done. And so far, I've really only been milling custom orders that I'm running out of room, and it's starting to get chaotic, and it's kind of spread all over the place. And I need to get it all cleaned up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to build basically 5 things. We're starting number 1 right now, and that is a sawmill shed. This is going to be a shed that's going to house all my sawmill equipment and a sharpening station. It's going to be 8 by 10, and it's going to sit, if you look at my mill, right behind my mill over there is a nice open area, and I'm going to put my 8 by 10 shed right there, kind of right next to that cedar tree. I'm probably going to pull that cedar tree out so I can work on the entrance, so that'll flow around, and all that old construction debris from jobs that I've been doing over the years is going to all get burnt and out of there. And then I have a mile of boards over here. I think I'm just going to start building some funky flower boxes and stuff like that out of them and just put them out front for sale. But all old stuff that I chainsaw milled years ago. Some of it's, got a little bit of punkiness to it. It'll get burned. Some of it's still good wood. It'll get used. And then this whole area is going to get cleaned up. So right where we're standing here is right where the shed's going to go, right in this little hole. And then my sawmill is going to turn 90 degrees and face this way. The second thing that we're going to build is going to be a retaining wall along here. We're going to put in black locust posts. We are going to use some black locust that I have over there for the wall itself, and then I am going to use slab cuts from my slab cut pile. Actually, I will put them up. I'll edge a flat edge on both sides and then put them in between the locust posts to make a wall, and then push this whole area up here down behind it, level it off. And then the third thing that we're going to build is a kiln, which is going to go right on that hill. And then a small greenhouse off the side for my wife. This retaining wall here is going to be a planter. It's what's called a hugel culture. And so all this stuff's got to go. And the reason that I'm building my shed first is that I'm going to use most of what I have lying around to build this shed. So I'm not custom cutting anything. I've done a cut list on the shed. I'm not custom cutting anything for it. I want to use what I have first. The fourth thing that we're going to build is going to be in that corner over there next to that shed. So it's going to go that way, and then towards me is a lean-to style firewood containment storage area. So it's going to be pretty good size. It's going to come off the shed all the way over into the corner. And this is an old deck that we had that's got a bunch of wood on it, to hopefully use some of that too. And then it's going to come this way. It will have a floor in it, be L-shaped, and that's where all my firewood's going to go. And so when I cut up my slab wood, then I can load up in there too. So what we have to deal with is I've got a pile of offcuts here. There's a lot of 1-inch and 2-inch material in there. So I'll use everything that I can. I've got a bunch of material here, including 6x6s and 2-inch material, 1-inch material. I've got a bunch of slabs that I just took off the other day, if you watched the video. The ones that I didn't sell are all going to get fired down into 2x4s. I've got a big ash cant right there. I think I'm going to make rafters out of the ash cant. That's also an ash cant in the back there. So I think I'll make my rafters out of ash. I do have some pine cans back here that I can make into construction lumber if I want to, but I want to use what's here first. So in the beginning, I said, let there be light. My wife made up these huge lumber bunks. And this one's kind of a, I think that bunk is 14 feet long, but this is all basically 14 to 16 foot material. And then this one is like, I don't know if it's 10 or 12 feet long. I think it's 10. And that's got a bunch of material on it too. So what we are going to do is we are going to use everything that we can use here first for the framing and for the sheathing, and then move on to what we need to use over here and get rid of as much as we can, because when I build that retaining wall, and what I'm going to do is take 8-foot locust posts. I'm going to cut a flat side on the sawmill and then stick them in the ground 4 feet. I'll actually get an auger for the Bobcat. I have access to one. Auger holes, put locust posts with the flat side facing out, then use the slab wood to cover them up with timber lock so I can replace them whenever, if anything ever rots, and then push that hill down and all that organic into it, flatten it out, and then the kiln goes in next. So we are going to use as much of what we have lying around, because when I get done, there's 5 things because there's a saw shop going in right here, but that we'll just wait for that down the road. That's a big timber frame. But when we get done with that shed and with that solar kiln, there should be, in theory, just about nothing left over here. So we're going to try to do it what makes the most sense. A lot of, in the 16-foot pile here, a lot of the 16-foot material on the bottom is going to go into the solar kiln. I just need a couple of longer pieces for my 8x10 for my floor framing that I'm going to take out right now. And then we're going to move over to joists. I have not pulled my compressor out here and everything yet, because what I'm going to do, and this is actually the way that I like to work, and this is not my first rodeo, I like to build up on sawhorses. And the thing about, well, I'll show you on the prints in a second, but I like to work up on sawhorses. Makes it simple when you're working by yourself. I'll use my outside edge joists flat to lay everything else on, get all my layout done, and then I can just stand them up, shoot it all together, come in with the Bobcat, pick it up, move it over there. I will pull out the topsoil, get it down to hard dirt, put some blocks in there. I get a whole bunch of blocks over and set it on blocks, level up the base, and then build the walls on top of that. So I have done a set of prints, and the thing that's unique about this particular shed, let me get out of the shade. Works out that I got nice shade over here at noontime. It's kind of worked out that way. The thing that's going to be unique about this shed is it's going to be movable with my Bobcat. So I'm going to have, I denoted a double joist in the middle here so that I can come in with forks and have something for the forks to go past and pick it up. However, I think I'm just going to use a 4x6 in there instead of double joists. And then this will all be 2x6. The edge joists are all going to be 2x8. I'll put a ledger underneath the joist so I don't have to use any hangers. And then across the bottom underneath this, I'll put a joist on edge so I have a nice wide flat surface for the forks to go under and grab. Now I do have access to long forks. The person that I bought the Bobcat from lets me use all of their attachments, including the auger. And they have several sets of long forks, so I can grab a set of long forks. However, I want to be able to pick it up with the pallet forks if I have to, which is one of the reasons why this shed is only going to be 8 feet wide, is that I can go in with the pallet forks. I can strap it off to the edge of the carriage I don't know where my forks are right now, but you can ratchet strap it to the edge of the carriage. I'll be able to pick this shed up and move it if I want to and put it in another location as this mill yard changes. The timber frame is not going to be that way. It's going to be on piers, and the kiln, I believe, is going to be on piers. I'm not sure about that yet. However, we're going to get the cut. So what we're going to cut is on our 10-foot dimension here, we got to cut some edge joists in this 8-foot dimension. And these outside ones, I'm going to lay down flat so everything can sit on top of them, these two. And then what I will do is I'll do my layout on the inside edge joist, which is 92 inches, and shoot that all through, shoot all my joists through, and then go ahead and attach the outside edge joist to it later. And these 6-inch joists are going to lay up 2 inches off the bottom so that I can take some of those, I don't know if you see over there, but some of that 2x2 material and put it underneath the joists and go ahead and shoot that in as a stop so the joist can't go down. This is going to be all blocked because when you're picking up sheds like this, what tends to happen is that the joists want to twist. This will all be blocked through the middle here. Make sure you can see what I'm doing because I can't see through my sunglasses. They'll all be blocked through the middle here. And I don't know if you can see the notation there, but they'll be blocking in between the joists also on the outside to make sure that when you pick it up with a bobcat that these joists can't twist and pop out. And I've had to move a lot of sheds in my time and redo a lot of sheds for people with bobcats and some really, really friggin' big ones. And I can tell you that's really the biggest battle that you face. It's nice if you can go in and lay a board underneath and then get your forks on the board, but 9 times out of 10, if it's in a bad spot and you go in, if you try to pick up on a joist, that joist twists and kind of breaks free, and then you end up having to repair it. So I'm going to do some cutting here. I got Danny with me. For some reason, he does not want to get out of the truck. Where'd he go? Oh, there he is. Say hi, Danny. So he's hanging in the truck. He's got his dog bed in here and water. That's his dog bed, and that's his water. And for some reason, he doesn't want to get out. So the first thing we're going to do is I'm going to rip 2 candidates here. This outside one here, I'm going to rip into I'm going to rip it down into 2x8 and then cut it into 2 96-inch pieces. That's going to be my ones that lay flat, that everything's going to get built on top of. And then this one on the top's got some punky edges on it, but it's really wide. I'm going to rip 2x8s out of the middle of that, and those will be 2 92s, which I'll do my layout on for my 2x6 joists. And I've got a whole bunch of 2x6s laying here, and on the top here there's a whole bunch of 2x6 that's like 16 foot here too for my joists. So that's what we're going to cut first. I'm going to pause you guys, get a circular saw out, and we're going to do this all battery, just so I don't have to. Eventually I'll have a extension cord run out that window. I just don't like to run my equipment off of a long extension cord, but I will run an extension cord out to an air compressor so I can shoot everything together, and then use timber locks and screws to keep anything from separating where loads will make things separate. Nails are great for shear. So a lot of people like to just shoot everything with framing nails. Nails are great for shear strength. So if you look at this, when a board comes into this, let's just say that this is a joist sitting like that, or a wall member. Nails are great so that this can't go down. Shear strength is awesome. Screws, not good shear strength. However, if you just shoot it together and then you move it around with bobcats, or let's say like you're standing up walls, you get a bunch of guys and you're standing up a wall, or if you have to pick a wall like you're doing timber framing with a crane, if you don't use screws, they'll pull apart. Nails have no strength for this to pull off like that. So I do like to shoot my stuff together because it's easy by myself to get my top lined up and shoot a nail in it, and then square it up and shoot a nail in it. Then usually I back that up with screws so that I have that backup so things can't pull apart. And doing a lot of work out in the field, building stuff like this, I have racks and racks and racks of timber locks and screws and everything. So that have all been paid for. So might as well use them. It cleans out my racks and Bob's your uncle. So like I said, I'm going to pause you guys. I'm going to try to do, some of you might ask, why don't you just throw it up on the sawmill and rip it on the sawmill? Well, because I can do it right here in place in a quarter of the time. So, you know, my job out framing and building stuff, you're doing it in the field on sawhorses, and I'm just pretty good at it. So, I can throw an edge guide on, rip this down in 2 seconds, cut it right here. I cut square, break down this long piece, throw it up there, and I never even have to take the cover off the sawmill. When I do cut 2x4s for my framing, I will batch cut those out of slabs if I have to, or throw a whole bunch of pieces up on the sawmill and batch cut 2x4s just because I'll need so many of them. But as far as, the deck and stuff like that, it's simpler to break it down by hand. So I'm going to pause you guys, and we'll get to ripping. So my weapon of choice when I am framing is this DC 573 DeWalt. It's a flex volt advantage, so it runs off of the flex volt batteries and off of the standard 20 volt batteries. It is an absolute animal. This is the one that I did the video of truing these sides up perfect to the blade on both sides so you can cut across a square. This is what I'm going to use for breaking this stuff down, and it runs for days and days and days on flex volt batteries. Oh, and mommy's home. So we're going to go ahead and get our depth set. These are sitting on stickers, so that depth's already set. That's good. These are sitting on stickers, so as long as I set my depth just below this, I can cut them right in place. They got support. I can cut them this way. They got support. I don't have to worry about them caving in. But the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and cut this to 8 inches wide. Make sure your view's good, and then we'll break it down sideways into two 96-inch pieces. If I look at my print, make sure I don't make a mistake. Yep. And then we'll go from there. I kind of pick a side that's fairly flat with no defects in it or anything. I'm measuring from get my screw just a little tighter. Measuring from my the edge of a tooth to 8 inches. These don't have to be perfect. All you have to do is make sure that you line up the tops of them. And we will double check it before I reef this thing through the ceiling. Make sure that we're cutting at 8 inches. Yeah, it's perfect. So let's go ahead and run it. Now I'm just reef this thing down so it doesn't move. This is a cheapo edge guide. It's I can't remember the make of it, but I've been using this for years. It just works perfect. I can't tell you the miles of wood that I've ripped with this. And this will end up being used for our backers underneath, so we don't have to use any hangers. Keep that one over here. One thing that I do like about this edge guide is that I can, when I'm making cross cuts, I can pop this off and make cross cuts too. You don't have to. I mean, it takes 2 seconds to set it up at 8 inches, and I don't care if they're all perfect. You know, they can be within 1/8 of an inch, and they'll be fine because we're going to line everything up on the top, and it's going to get blocked and leveled. So let's check our overall, see how much we got to waste. Hi, honey. So I need 192. I got 195. So I got 4 inches to waste. This side doesn't have any checks in it. So I think I'll actually start down there. Got 4 inches I can waste. And find my Freeman square is MIA. That's an 8. So I'll just go ahead and mark it off, cut the end, measure it to 96, cut it off. And measure this one at 96. We'll cut the end off it. Hi, honey. Starting our shed. Yeah. Talked to Heather today. It was clean up out there and start the shed. I said, okay. Yeah. So we're starting the shed. I'm cutting all the base framing right now. I'll get it all set. I'll probably shoot it all together tomorrow. All right, so get you guys faced over here. So, howdy, Kate.
Hey, everybody. Happy Monday.
And we're going to get these set on these sawhorses. Caddy corner. Since I have a nice straight cut side, well, it won't matter right now, but you want to get these set up. Like this. And one down the other end. Get them about 10 feet apart. These will be the boards that I do my layout on. No, sorry. These are just getting attached to the outside. These are not getting layout. I kind of got to get squared up here, so I got to come this way just a little bit. what's going to happen is that my joist will sit on here. They'll sit right on top of these. So when I cut my joists, I just lay them on top of here, and then my ones that I'll do layout on will go up here. I'll do my layout. I'll flip them up. I'll stand the joists up, line up the top, bing, 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 shoot the whole side, done. We're going to make sure that these are they need to be about 9 foot. Oh, Jesus, they're perfect. So 120 minus 8. So they need to be about 9 foot 4. Yeah, 9'4". And right now they're perfect. I'll check the other side. Which makes it easier when you're working by yourself. All these sawhorses are all set at the same height right now. Just want to make sure I got 9'4" sitting on. So this one's a little long. Just pull this way just a little bit. Pull this one this way just a little bit. And that one's done. So now I have my work area set up. All my joists will lay across there. My edge joist that I do my layout on will be this way. You can just stand it up, shoot them, do the whole thing on those. At the end, I'll pick up the end, pull that out, and that's going to get attached to the end right here. So you look at this, that's my 96-inch piece. There's my corner detail. Goes all the way out to the outside. So these are 8 feet. That's my 8-foot dimension. And the next ones that I have to cut are 92. They're 92 because there's going to be an edge joist in the corner detail that goes in between. So I stagger my edge joist all the way down like that. So we have to cut 292s out of that big one. And this is going to take a double edge cut here because I got some punky wood on this one. So what we're going to do, I'm going to pause you guys while I get it set up, and then I'll explain what I'm going to do. All right, so what I decided based on some of this sapwood out here is I'm going to take 3 inches off this side, then cut an 8-inch wide piece, and then buck 292s out of it. So go ahead and rip 3 inches down. And this dimension really doesn't matter. Then we'll reset the edge guide, just make sure that looks straight. That cut pretty good. We'll reset the edge guide. This is kind of junk wood right here. To 8 inches, and we'll rip the 8-inch side. I only put a 6 amp-hour battery in this. I could go with a 9. One of the reasons that I run DeWalt tools is because I have so invested in the battery platform. Also, there is a square edge in here for this to ride against. I'm trying to keep it square right now. Let me just check this quick, make sure we got 8. I'm a 16th off. And I think this moves in 8ths, so I can go ahead and click this out one click. Let me just see if that works or not, if that's too much. I think it moved too much. Might have to move that. Yeah, I'm gonna move it a little bit. It should be showing 8 and, yeah, 8 and 16. Should be pretty close. Like I said, they don't have to be perfect, just that's pretty close. Because you're only lining up on the top, I will take my straighter of the two sides, whatever ends up straighter by eye, and I'll use that on the top. Let's take it off. Why it's pushing me in my head. I don't know why it's not, didn't move over enough. I could leave it the way it is, it's not going to matter. I can tell by where it's going into the wood now whether it's right or not. That looks good. So I'll go ahead and cut it. So this side has some pretty good checks in it. So I will square that in first and take my 292s out of it. See how much we have to waste here. So 184, I don't have much to waste. Only got a couple of inches. So I'll just square that in, kind of close to the edge. And we will cut the 292s. So what we did was we just made good on this kind of big slab board with a bunch of punky wood in the outsides. All right, you guys around. We'll take these over there, get them set in place, and then we can start working on joists. We'll do layout on these. Probably attach my joist on this side. And let's see how long this video is getting. Now it's just going to be, I got to run through some of these piles and grab 2x6s. I think I have some 16 footers here. Right here, here, here. So I got to get those all pulled out. This is 40 minutes. I think what we'll do is we'll probably call this a video as I'm getting set up here. And then I will shoot a part 2 when I'm getting it stuck all together. And then we'll be going through and we'll be finding a whole bunch of 1-inch material that we can rip down. I'll show you something neat too. What we have, so typically when I got to rip straight edges, you know, I'll just use a regular chalk line. I tend to like the fluorescent orange. I also have a Tajima, and this is an ink line. Let me show you the difference between this and the chalk line. It's kind of a neat concept. I haven't used the Tajima in a while because I usually keep it for something that is going to be, say, really, really important, like joinery and stuff like that, to make a perfect line. And just, you're going to have to take my word for it. I can follow a line. Get a clean piece of wood here. So we'll go ahead and let me back you guys up just a little bit, and I'll take you in close to show you what the difference is. We'll go ahead and we'll chalk an orange line on here. Hopefully you got enough chalk in here. This gets used a lot. And then right next to it, we'll chalk an ink line. Well, chalk. We won't chalk. We will cut an ink line. Now, I don't know how much ink is in this right now because I haven't used it in so long, but still should make a mark. And show you the difference. This is auto retract, which is nice too. I'm going to take you out of the holder. I'll show you the difference between those two lines in scale with a tape measure. So hopefully you can see those two lines. I'll put a tape next to it, okay? So my chalk line is a full 16th of an inch. Actually, it's almost 3/32, almost over a 16th of an inch thick. That's the ink line. Look at that. It's just as wide as a line. Hopefully you can see that. So when you're cutting joinery and stuff like that, an ink line, there's a million different ones. Just Tajima does make chalk ones also. I just like the ink. And I have a black ink filler inside that you just dump it in here. You pump this to moisten that little line. You can see the ink on my fingers. And you can get that quality of perfectly straight line to follow with your saw versus getting a big 16th inch one. Now, you know, for a lot of framing that I do, this is fine, but this is next level good. So if you follow that line with the edge of your saw, you get a really, really straight cut. In all honesty, straighter than I can probably do it with an edge guide. Now, I don't know if we look down these. So if I get you in the right view, you look down that edge, it's pretty straight. So, I mean, it did a pretty good job. You can see, you know, the way it's sitting on here, it's pretty straight. This edge right here is pretty, you know, it's pretty straight. So you can get a good edge with the edge guide. But if you follow the ink line and cut right along it with the edge of the blade, you're going to get a really, really straight line. And that it works really good for breaking down bigger pieces or slabs. Back in the day when I was chainsaw cutting and I had to break down slabs for stuff, and I would use the ink line a lot to make a perfect line to cut a slab down. You know, like if you're trying to cut a straight edge on this. Or if you had, if this was 40 inches wide and you had to cut an angle on it, and you could mark your angle and you could run your ink line along it and snap a line to cut your angle. Works really good for that. So that's where we're at. I'm going to start working on getting 2x6s pulled out and get them all laid out here. And by the time that I get them all laid out, I don't know whether there's going to be anything left to today, but if there is and I can start attaching them together, I'll shoot another video. So we're going to get this thing all put together here, and we will deck it here, and then we will come in with the Bobcat. We'll grab it, we'll pick it up. I will do some groundwork over there, get some blocks laid in. We'll block the whole thing up, get it all nice and level, and then we will build our walls on it over there and use up hopefully everything that we have lying around here. So thanks for the watch. Something a little bit different, and hope you guys are having a great day. And for now, this is Power Solutions out.